Hello friends, welcome to Tanked Up, the podcast all about beers and video games. This is episode 321. I'm one of your hosts, Ben, here with Aadil.
Hey!
And returning guest, Kimberley. Oh, did you say something? Your audio's gone.
Oh, no.
Oh, no,
Hi.
hooray! Perfect. Those of you on Twitch will know that we've just been talking about picking a beer. And those of you on the audio, Kimberley has a bunch of Star Wars themed beers. You should go to Out of Lives Network over on YouTube or join us on Twitch to see those beers. And we're going to help her pick one now because there's so many of them.
I could have brought more actually, but I feel like I was being conscious because I've got this glass that says Stout Life on it, so I feel like
Oh, great glass.
that was maybe what I was going to go for is the Stout Life glass.
I also enjoy the ring light reflections on the Stout Life glass.
What are you going to do?
Oh, I mean, I've got one right there. It makes sense. I just don't. Oh, you can see. You can see.
I mean, it's better reflecting off your glass than it is off your head. So fuck both of you. Let's pick a beer.
Maybe after this start I will.
So what are your choices?
Well, I've still got this one. I mean, I've had it for a while, so I don't know if this is going to be the utmost quality that Brew York would want it to be, because I bought them in bulk and this was a last year release, so I'm not sure this one is going to have lasted the test of time. Milkshake IP.
I think they've re-released that one this year.
Exactly. So I've got this stout glass. The rest are stouts. So
perfect. Well, we might as well marry the two. And for the audio listeners, that was the Brew York's Mandalorian,
which they've re-released now, and it's in I think it's like a Jedi pack, but with their new Brew York beer, which is the Obi-Wan cannoli. Which is I guess a caramel-esque milk stout. You can get that in like a 6-pack, 3 of each. I feel like I'm promoting for them, but I actually bought a 12-pack today because I want to take some of them with me to Star Wars Celebration for swapsies.
Amazing. Can you get those on a plane? Are you allowed to take these on a plane?
I mean, you checked bag. I feel like I'm a seasoned pro here, but I'll be trying to balance the weights out because people have been giving me lots of beer orders from England. People want a lot of the beers by Emperor's Brewery. So they're some of the highest rated beers on Untapped, but they usually sell out in 6 minutes.
Ridiculous.
Yep.
But yeah, there was a new one that came out today, Rebel Fortress, with also with Three Hills like this one, the Jedi Mind Trick last year. But this one's like a 12% massive one, so I'm not going to open that one because the wax one's going to be really hard to get into. So I think it's out of these 3, but I will talk to you about these other bottles. So this one is quite readily available. So this is the Death Star 2, and that's by Northern Monk, and that is a chocolate, peanut, and caramel Imperial Stout at 12%. But this one you can obviously get from Northern Monk, but you can get it in Tesco's as well.
Oh, it's a Tesco one. Okay.
Oh.
So you can get that one in Tesky Peskies, as I call it. And then we've got this other one, which I only managed to I don't know whether these ones are in scarce supply. You might be able to find them on some kind of rogue retailers, but I know they've not got any on their actual website. But this is an Ampersand and Emperor's Brewery again collab. It's like the Emperor's Brewery Day, and this is a Execute Order 66, which I don't have any with. A lot of it is all based around Vader or so it's cool to have this type of artwork, and it's really cool. But this is a chocolate and hazelnut Imperial Stout, and from the back it sounds sublime, but I'm quite worried because it says it's dangerously easy to drink, and it is 10.5%, so that is a worry. And then this one, this one looks pretty cool.
That's very nice.
But this is a collab between Loch Lomond Brewery and Emperor's again, but it's for the Fuck Cancer beer project. So some of the proceeds go to a good cause, and I think there's 4 beers in this particular series, so these ones you can definitely still get. But this one is called Bacta, and it's an Imperial Stout again, 12%. It says darker than Darth Vader's heart.
I really like Bacta for raising money for a medical cause. That's such a.
I'll show you these two, but I'm definitely not going to open the wax tops because these are going to be practically hard to do. This one is from Fallen Acorn. It is obviously a nice sharing portion. I mean, if you're going to get through this, you are hardcore. But that's 11.5%, and it's called Binary Sunset, hence the Star Wars.
That's very good.
I was going to say, that's Tatooine, right? Yeah.
But they do have another version of this, which is like, it was kind of more of like an orange wax top with like orange artwork, and it wasn't a stout. It was, I can't even remember what it was, but my boyfriend won't let me open it because he's collected them all and I'm not allowed to open that one. So I was like, why can't I open it?
Beer's meant to be drunk.
I know. So normally I buy two, so
Right.
you know, the wax tops, it's just because they look so nice, I'm guessing, but maybe in 3 years, because they'll have aged quite nicely, I will just get it. But this one's Heaven Hill and Bushmills BA Vanilla and Cacao Stouts.
Nice.
That one is going to be a win. So if you want to share that with me, maybe on the next episode, maybe we could do one face to face.
Absolutely.
And you could definitely still pick that one up. And then there's this one, which is there's a couple with Castle Rock and Emperors. But I love the little artwork on these, are really cute. But these ones, this is a double mashed Imperial Stout, and it is cognac barrel aged over whole cherries.
Ooh.
So this one sounds epic.
It does.
But I'm like, maybe the can will be easier to open this evening.
Yeah.
And maybe these three is a. What do you think?
Are you drawn to any of them?
I don't know. I'm happy with any of them. I think, you know, I don't know, maybe I guess it's just accessibility, because I think you can pick up the Bacta and you can pick up the Death Star still. So
I was gonna say the Bacta simply just because last episode you had a beer that was for about supporting a good cause, and this would just sort of round it out. And again, like you said, availability. Also, I need to know, can you tell us about the artwork?
Yeah, it doesn't. I'm wondering what it said. Oh, artwork by Game _over artist on Instagram.
Because it's Vader with a couple of daffs, and it's excellent.
Yeah, it's cute, isn't it? So, but yeah, when you get all of the cans in the series, they've got a similar blue background like this, and then they're all.
So you can kind of mural them.
Yeah, you can make like a kind of matching mural with them. I love it when there's like a concept. But yeah, the Fuck Beer project. Yeah, they've done just so much stuff, and I guess they don't only. I guess a lot. It isn't just breweries that support them. It's people like Simpsons Malt, and you know, people donate products to them just because it's for a good cause. But there's a lot of cool companies named like Yakima Chief. So yeah, it's a lot of different like kind of ingredient producers, so like hop producers, but they're all part of this collective that do these series of beers, but they bring out new ones all the time. But obviously this is a good one because it's a Star Wars one.
Nice.
It's an Emperor's one, so let's give it a whirl. I'm excited about this. I feel like I've kept it for now.
Yeah, look at that.
Well, yeah, let's just I'm gonna that's a great looking pour. The beer I grabbed was from Moor, which is local Bristol, mostly because they used to do Star Wars beers. They didn't re-release them this year for now. At least I couldn't find them. But it is a barrel-aged dark ale sour series, number 1, 8.9%. It's in a 330ml can. A compelling barrel-aged dark ale with sour cherry notes. Love a simple flavor text.
Nice.
So I'll crack it's Moor. I enjoy them when we were out on the East Bristol Brewery Trail on the weekends. I had at Moor, I had one of their sours, and I hadn't had any of these sours from them before, and I really liked it then, so I was quite chuffed to find this one. But while I crack this, why don't we find out what Ben's got?
Yes, I am going to drink Cheese from Pressure Drop, which is a 7.4% New England IPA with Mosaic and Strata. We're leaning heavily into the realm of fruity and dank hops with this hazy IPA. Expect notes of overripe mango, strawberry, and passion fruit with just a whiff of Mary Jane. I love a dank beer. Everyone, not people who've never even heard me talk about beer, know that I love a dank, weedy beer. So I saw this and it was like, yes, I will instantly buy this. Thank you very much. And I haven't had a Pressure Drop for ages. But they tie in, again, slightly, to the East Bristol Brewery Trail, because we ended up at Newtown Park who are partnered quite nicely with Verdant. So we had a Verdant beer whilst we were there, and Verdant obviously partnered up quite nicely with Pressure Drop as well. Verdant doing that lovely thing of being like, we need to be in some cities that aren't the arse end of Cornwall. Let's partner up with some lovely brewery friends of ours. So yeah, jumping over to London though for this Pressure Drop. We'll get them poured, and we'll come back to you, Kimberly, for the beer.
This was intense. As soon as I opened it, I was like, you know, when you're like, you feel joy when you smell a beer, and you're like, I know I'm gonna love this, because there was just so many flavors hitting me, like flavors. I felt like I could taste it already.
Yeah.
I could. Yeah. On the first taste, the honey was coming through quite strong. But what I have to say is, on the kind of second, third sip, there's so many layers to it. Like, I'm getting like little hints of vanilla. I'm getting this. The cocoa it feels like rich, indulgent, almost like I don't know. You know, when you've had a chocolate bar, and sometimes I'm not one of those people that just eats the chocolate bar. I dip it in my tea, and this is really weird, but I suck the chocolate a little bit. I'm like savoring that. It feels like it's coating my mouth, that cocoa, and I'm just, I feel like I'm in chocolate heaven, basically.
Nice.
But I definitely can taste the hazelnut is not coming through as strong as I thought it would. And the coffee, it's not an intense hit. It's like a slow build as I'm having more and more. But
Okay.
definitely that chocolate is the first whiff with the honey is kind of like intoxicating, and it's kind of making me go, oh. But yeah, I'd be interested to see kind of how it is, I guess, as it warms, and just how the character kind of changes. But sometimes, like, I guess when you have stouts that have coffee, and I think this has got like quite a lot of good complex flavors, but almost like on top of each other, and they don't feel like they're attacking each other, and one's kind of going, here I am, and it's quite overpowering, because sometimes the coffee sometimes just hits you too much. I think this is quite nicely balanced, especially because it's like a 12.5%, which is no, it's 12, forget the 0.5, but
Okay.
yeah, 12%. I think I was playing this while I was gaming. I might stop slurring my words later, so I'm just out there. I've gone in hard here.
Nice. But it's one, as you'd mentioned earlier, that you could kind of get into a gaming session and then just sup occasionally when you have a moment to. Either, I suppose, if you're playing like Battlefront 2, when you've been shot and you're waiting to respawn, it's a nice easy time to be able to sip a beer.
I think as well it's good with these, because sometimes as you get them, you know, you might have stored them somewhere where it's a little bit colder, and I think for me, as this is, when I get lost in the game, I forget to drink, and for me, some of these, the profile changes, because I think it's my like adult ADHD tendencies. I just get absorbed. So I think for me, having this like Imperial Stouts, it's kind of like the character changes, and it's nice when it gets, you know, a bit closer to room temperature, and it doesn't spoil the beer. Whereas if like I need something that's kind of dank and I'm getting it out the fridge and I need it to be crisp and cold, by the time I'm halfway down, I'm like, this is not good anymore, because I forgot about it. So that's why I usually go for these type of beers when I'm gaming.
Nice. Aadil, we'll come to you for the Moor.
So on the pour, I smelt immediately the cherries, which smelt a lot. Or like sweet, rich, so like dark cherry, almost winey, and then it's obviously the sour is bringing that cherryness out, but I'm getting a touch of malt on the nose as well, which is making it a really luxurious smelling beer. Just like a little bit of that, like, what am I trying to think of? That sort of thicker, almost cereal smell.
Right.
So this was the thing I was very curious about, which is how sour is the sour? Regular listeners will know that we've all kind of fallen in love with sours the past few years, but it took us a while to get used to. And now, like, I don't think you can make a beer too sour for me. But this is on the other end, which I think is, for Moor, makes sense, just because, like, They are reasonably mainstream within Bristol, at least, and for this is a really good introduction to sours, I think, because it has such a nice malty back end to balance things out, and then there is a sweetness to the cherry, so you get this sort of like your first hit is like, ah yes, cherries, and then you're like, it's not like pucker your lips sour, it's just a nice rich yeasty sour that is married to a slightly sweet cherry, and then you're left with lingering sour with this, like I said, this malty back end, sort of almost biscuity, but no, so like lightly burnt notes, but like behind the biscuits, which I think is a really good pairing for like a slightly sweet but mostly sour forward cherry. Because if it was a little too burnt, I think those two tastes would clash. But again, just like the beer I had last episode, they're really well balanced and melded. You could take a big swig of this or a small swig, and you're still going to get that same taste curve of like, ah, yes, cherries. But it's still clearly a darker beer. And now I'm finishing, and I've got this balance of malt, but this lingering sour that again is like, I've had a cherry or two or three, not I've had a sour thing. If that
Right.
makes sense. This is why I think it's a good, like, if you're not sure or you want to try sours, you're getting introduced to them, this is a really good starting point because it's clearly a sour, but it's not like clearly a sour. So yeah, it's really excellent. I don't know how long this will last. Because again, I could take a small sip and get this, but like it's so interesting that I could easily just take a big sip for the same reasons.
What's that beer?
Sorry?
What's the ABV?
Oh, it's 8.9, so it's not too bad. But it's and luckily it's Moor, so it's in a 330 ml can. Yeah. So, but this also, those of you on video, you can see it's Sour Series 1, which now I'm already looking forward to Sour Series X and +1. And you can really tell it's barrel aged, like I said, because of some of that maltiness, some of that like more biscuity, those sort of woody notes are coming through. It's really excellent beer, easy to drink, but not in a bad way, I would say, like in the sense of it's dynamic, but I'm not like struggling with it.
Nice.
Yeah,
cherry and beer is always a win. I love a bit of cherry.
Yeah, it's hard to go wrong.
I think
it's nice to have it this time of year though, versus like usually you only get cherry beers at like Christmas and you get these cherry porters, etc.
The Moor beer that we drank just before we left them on the East Bristol Brewery Trail, that you had, the sour one, also had that kind of burnt cherry note to it as well.
It was a lot more burnt than this one. Like I'm saying, like lingering in the back, burnt. Like if you weren't looking for the taste, you wouldn't notice. It's just adding to the taste profile. While the one I had, which I can't remember what it was called, that was like, oh yes, there's a burnt note and a bit of a cherry note, and they're working well together. This is really easy to drink. Oh, it's interesting. Oh, what's interesting about it? It's slightly burnt, lightly acrid, but like you have to look for it. The other one was much more bird forward, if that was a term, which it is now.
Perfect. We just coin phrases here. It's okay. I don't think I need to coin a phrase with this with cheese from Pressure Drop.
There's like no head to that, hey?
Almost nothing. It poured with a little bit, but not a huge
put it right in the light.
amount. It's I was like over there.
There we go.
So you can't see my face. I just peer over. Hello. Yeah, not very much head with it at all, and it's a lovely orange colour as well, like more in the light. When you get about there, you kind of get the colour of it. It's a lovely orange colour, almost a solid block of colour as well. And that nose has little hints of mango, but it does show that dankness to it. Like almost as soon as I cracked that can, that waft of kind of weedy dankness, maybe kind of more edging towards pine, kind of cracked straight out of that can, more so than the sort of that mango flavour that I'm getting off of it. But it's incredibly smooth, like ridiculously so. Like there's almost no carbonation to it, like just enough of a hint that it pushes some lovely sweet flavours right to the fore. Lovely sweet mango in that straight away. And actually those dank notes kind of sit in the background really, really well. It's not a beer which kind of flows between those flavors and going, here is that those tropical fruits. We're going into a bit more of a pininess. Here is that dankness that's kind of edging in. It's kind of like, here's the tropical flavors, here's the dankness, and it's floating around just underneath those. It's kind of like here, and it just sits underneath that really, really well. Pressure Drop are one of those breweries that are almost like magicians, where they can just balance a beer so well. That kind of, there's a tiny bit of orange in here as well, which comes through. Like, there's so many little bits that are kind of coming through from this that it just works. It works so well. Oh my god, I want more of this.
Luckily, you have a lot of it left.
It's not going to be around for very, very long. I'm going to pour the rest into my glass now, so I can absolutely just nail this beer. This is what I love about kind of like a New England. It's full of fruit, absolutely full of fruit, and it just kind of. I mean, is it in New England because it's got that little bit of piney bitterness. It wants to kind of almost be towards the mountains a little bit. It's edging towards kind of West Coast. Not quite there. Nowhere near there. But it's not quite soft stone fruit kind of flavors. It's edging a bit more towards a tropical kind of note. But it is soft. That mouthfeel is incredibly soft on this. This is just too good. Jesus Christ.
So you've sold me, friend.
I'm done.
I feel like I need to get another can of that. Not like I need to buy more beer, but you are selling it.
That's it. To be fair, no one needs to buy more beer, but everyone needs to buy more beer.
One.
Yes, yeah. I'm going to shut up and just drink this, and we will jump into the talking points for our episode. Kimberley, we started with you on the previous episode about the games that you'd kind of been playing recently, and delving into sort of like the Star Wars games. But what kind of stuff do you tend to gravitate towards? I know I kind of mentioned, because a few of the games that you'd mentioned were more Star Warsy. Was it the franchise that you kind of went more towards?
No, I think sometimes I get a game. I mean, like, I don't go online and play, because I like to. I guess because I do so many jobs and so many creative things, and I'm around people quite a lot. I usually like to play games as a insular kind of me on my own kind of vibe,
Sure.
where I can get lost in it. And I don't know whether it is like, kind of my neurodivergence. It's almost like it's the only way I can get lost. And, if I'm feeling, especially like, because I suffer from anxiety sometimes, and I find the games quite soothing, and it's a nice distraction. And sometimes going online, like I remember when I used to go online and go on Call of Duty, like people shouting at each other and stuff, and I'm like, this is not for me.
Yeah.
So I do like a game I can get, immersed in, I can lose myself. So it's not necessarily about that. So I do like playing on story mode. I wouldn't generally go online, but I feel like Star Wars got me in terms of like Battlefront, because I was like, I feel like I'm in the film this time.
Yeah.
And
Right.
I feel like it got me because I was like, I can play all these different characters, and that's probably the only times it's probably Mario Kart, when I used to play online and play kids when I was playing Mario Kart on the Wii, that I've really enjoyed playing online with like people and being on that experience. Whereas normally it's quite a insular, lone experience for me gaming. So normally I would go for things with like, I guess, long story modes that I can kind of dip in and out of. But I do like going back to retro games. So when I had the Xbox, I would always get like the Sega Mega Drive collection and relive my youth and play like Streets of Rage, for example.
Nice.
And, Glass People and stuff like that. And then, because I've got a Switch as well, so I do love Mario Kart. Like, I really, I think I get obsessed with Mario Kart. So when I got a Switch, I was like, because I was traveling away a lot, I got a Switch because I was like, can play it in my hotel when I'm away for work, and it's quite good for me to have a couple of games. But I do love Mario Kart and playing kind of things like that. But because of the Switch, I got the retro Pac-Man where you play it on the big screen.
Nice.
And it's got like house music, like techno music, and it's quite an intense experience from, compared to when you're a child and you play Pac-Man. But I do like getting the retro games out occasionally and the retro games collections and, revisiting things like, because I used to really like things like Altered Beast when I was a kid, and I think
classic.
I try and go back to the old games occasionally, and because I live in Leamington Spa at the moment, it's very gaming heavy, and there's a lot of gaming developers. Sometimes I'll be in the pub and I remember one day I was having a pint and I was sitting next to this guy and I was like, what do you do? And he was like, I'm a games developer, and he developed like the old school micro machines for the Sega Mega Drive, and I was proper fangirling. And like my husband was like, what is wrong with you? And I was like, this game, I was obsessed with it when I was with the backwards controls. And yeah, so I think for me, gaming's always been like Commodore 64 was the thing I started on, and it's always been like a solitary experience for me. I kind of went around other people's houses to play, but I think for me it's an escape. So I think the Star Wars thing, it's just because there's more Star Wars games coming out now, and our house is like a Star Wars museum, so it blends my husband's passion with my gaming passion, so it's a good blend.
Oh, is your husband as into Star Wars?
Oh my God, our house is like a Star Wars museum. I'll have to probably take you around it at some point when the lighting is better. But yeah, our house is intense. He's definitely more into Star Wars than me. But I'm more into gaming, so I feel like it was I play the Star Wars games, and I kind of get to know like you said, like the stuff that's not in the books or the off-script stuff, and I can kind of learn about it. But I'm definitely more into gaming.
Chad is the Empire, am I right?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, everyone's house has got nice Star Wars stuff. I'll show you a little.
No, don't say that. I don't have any Star Wars stuff out yet.
I feel like I need to take
it's all sort of, has to be at least in my house, it's sort of confined to one space.
So so I have these shelves that I've recently purchased, but they're mostly empty, and that's because it's because I have boxes and boxes of Lego I need to get around to rebuilding, including a Star Destroyer, a Millennium Falcon, the OG Hoth set, Mos Eisley. Oh, the amount of Star Wars Lego I have, and you're Ben's like, oh, I've got Star Wars Lego. I do too, but it's just I could show you a picture of a cardboard box, or I could go into my drawer and show you the manuals. Oh man,
I've actually got the Death Star behind this bar to build.
The vignette, like the Death Star with all the vignettes, right?
Yeah, and I've actually bought a clear display case for it. This is how nerdy.
Oh, amazing!
So I'm just like, maybe when I get back from Celebration, that'll be my we'll build the Death Star.
Yeah, oh man, I really like the new 8080 model, the AT-AT.
I have
the big
you're talking about the
£700 version, because it is to scale with a minifig, and it's like, oh no, I need that. And then Lego are like, why don't you buy this and the Hoth battle pack, which is more minifigs to fit in to the AT-AT. And I'm like, yes, of course I'm going to buy that as well. I'm like, I really shouldn't buy this.
It's a good time to tell you I get a discount on Lego.
I have been. I want the ATST as well, the Hoth one, the one that they just released, which is it's like £45 for like that's 2 legs and a little head, and I'm like, oh.
See, and the one from the mid 2000s that I have in a box somewhere, is very shoddily designed, and that's the thing that I've noticed is there's 3 tiers of Lego Star Wars sets. So I'm a big Lego nerd. And the OG ones are really simply designed, but then the play sets are play sets, and so they're quite big and elaborate. And then there's the fancy ones that you're talking about, there's there's like 7 Millennium Falcons, and then there's the fancy ass, like 3 times the price, but giant Millennium Falcon, right? But the modern play sets, the ones that they sell currently in the Lego store, are all vastly inferior to their like 10 years ago version. So like the Moss Eisley that came out in 2011 is got probably 1.5 to 2 times the amount of pieces, and it's just more intricate, and it's nicer looking than the Moss Eisley they're selling now, which is like just a cramped thing that you unfold, and it's like, kids will play with this one. It doesn't need details, and it's like, it's kind of shitty, because it's like, if you want the detail, you have to wait for them to re-release it in a 10 times the price version.
I see what I do get what you mean. It was pretty quick to put together.
but like 10 years ago, 12 years ago, they had like basically the second wave of Lego Star Wars sets where they re-released things with modern techniques. Was like, I think, the best version of, it's a kid could make this, but it looks pretty enough for adults to buy. And then since then, they've clearly realized that like there's enough adults with money that we don't have to cater to them to buy the play sets. We'll just cater to them to buy the 10 times more expensive sets. And it's a shame, because I think they've dumbed down the kid sets.
Completely. I found that with the Slave One kit, or what they're calling Fire Spray now. That is, and I looked at the stats online. It's about 20% less pieces, and it's about 2 inches smaller in height and 1.5 inches in width, kind of thing. And so they've made it a little bit more compact. It's less pieces, and it probably retails at about the same price that the original one did. The same with the Luke's X-wing that I've got as well. That is the modern version of it, which is
so tiny.
But let's not get too into this. But
it's Star Wars
I'm
Day.
gonna go behind my bar in a minute and get the bag of Lego boxes I've got yet.
So actually, like Luke's X-wing is a really good model.
It looks real good, actually.
The modern one is a really good model because like these bits are much better than the previous version, and it's kind of like, that looks pretty. It's pretty robust.
It's definitely smaller.
It is smaller,
but it's like, but it has the right like profile.
Very well built. I'll say that about it. It's whoever designed it.
I think I was like, you mean well designed, because otherwise you're patting yourself on the back. It's very well
yes, very well designed. Yes. What an excellent model that I've made. The only thing I will say that I don't like about it is that the
lightsaber
has nowhere to go. Right? There's these little hooks in the back, which suggest that they should go there, but the handle would, but the rest of it doesn't. Whereas get out of the way, Mando. On Anakin's
the Naboo
Starfighter.
I'm really enjoying this, and I'm so sad I have nothing built.
It's got a little where is it? Oh, it's underneath the wing. It's got a little hook. Where his
that's so
just
smart.
Fits in. So actually, however you have it, because I need to get some stands. However you have it like angled, hanging out in your house. Yeah. You can just fit it all together. Perfect. Brilliant.
By get some stands, you mean build some stands.
Gonna do an hour on Lego next time. Yeah, there's a whole box of like old school things behind here that I need to build.
Oh, that's amazing. I mean, it's just keeping on theme, because last episode was about Lego Star Wars, and now we're talking about Lego Star Wars.
Yeah, I am excited because they're meant to be bringing out a BD one from Fallen Order. So apparently, apparently. Nice, so I heard word on the street. So I'm excited about that.
Perfect. It launches us quite well into our talking point for this episode, which is discussing the upcoming Star Wars games that have been announced or that we know are kind of in development. So I'm going to just run through really quickly the ones that have been announced, and then I'll jump back to both of you to see if any of them kind of tick boxes for you, are ones that you kind of want to discuss. So we will. I've got this from an article over on IGN just Star Wars games that are coming out, and I think they cover all of them. I couldn't find any
They're
more
such good at titles.
that were coming out. Yeah, that is literally it. IGN.com/articles/star-wars-video-games. It's perfect. So, Star Wars Hunters, which is the first game that they list after showing a bunch of pictures of Lego Star Wars, which has already kind of come out.
Yeah.
But Star Wars Hunters is this multiplayer kind of is
Arena
it an
shooter,
arena
isn't it?
shooter? Yeah, is it though?
Well, I guess not shooter because you can lightsaber.
Okay, arena battler,
Brawler?
combat, yeah,
Battler?
arena
Yeah.
combat game. The next one is Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order 2, which is being made again by EA and Respawn. Then we've got the Knights of the Old Republic remake, which is being made by Aspyr. Then it's, as it is just called on here, Respawn's Star Wars first-person shooter, or FPS. Nothing else about that, really. But again, another Respawn-made game. There's a theme here with EA and stuff. Then there's the Ubisoft open-world Star Wars game, which again, doesn't at the moment have a title. There's then Star Wars Eclipse, which is being made by Quantic Dream.
Oh, right.
If you'll recall, avid listeners, that last episode I talked about shitty workplace Star Wars made games. That one. Then there's the Star Wars and Bit Reactors Star Wars strategy game, which is a Bit Reactor, which I have never heard of, but is a studio formed by Greg Fortsch and other XCOM developers. XCOM, fantastic strategy series. And then there is the Amy Hennig and Skydance New Media Star Wars game, which Amy Hennig was working on a game called Ragtag, codename Ragtag, through EA and Visceral. EA then shut down Visceral and cancelled this project because it probably wasn't working out as they wanted. But Amy Hennig is famous for Uncharted 1 and 2, and I think about half of 3, before she then left Naughty Dog to go and just do bits and pieces. So out of those, I'll run through them very quickly again. We have Star Wars Hunters, an FPS arena combat game. Jedi Fallen Order 2, which is a sequel to Fallen Order, a solo Jedi experience. Knights of the Old Republic remake of Knights of the Old Republic. A first-person shooter made by Respawn, who are the Titanfall developers. The Ubisoft open-world Star Wars game. That's a big old shrug, who knows? Could be anything. Star Wars Eclipse, which is the Quantic Dream game. I'll just go past that one. Fuck Quantic Dream. Sorry, listeners, if you like Quantic Dream. Then there's the other Respawn game, the strategy game, which is
The
made
Respawn
by the
and-
XCOM. Respawn and Bit Reactor, the strategy game. And then the Amy Hennig and Skydance New Media Star Wars game. Kimberly, I'll come to you first.
I actually want to know a lot about the last one.
Mm.
Just because I liked Uncharted.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that one's going to be interesting. But obviously we don't know the time frames when these games are going to come out. So yeah, that one. I mean, I never, Hunters. I was reading a lot about it. I mean, obviously, anything with like Imperial Troopers, Rebellion Heroes, Bounty. I feel like it's going to be for me. So I'll probably will still give that one a whirl. The others, I mean, except for obviously New Fallen Order, which I am hoping we will get a reveal at Star Wars Celebration, and I will be there on the day it happens. I am willing that to happen. I'm like, please, I need another fix, please. So yeah, that one totally.
Nice.
So I will say that Star Wars Hunters, one of the interesting things about it is that it's Switch, iOS, Android.
Yeah.
So I'm expecting it to try and be Fortnite. So
Yeah, same.
So but that also means that you definitely will be able to play as Jawas and Ewoks and whatnot, because like it's about a spread of like Fortnite is great because you can be all these different characters and skins. So I'm really curious about that, how that'll be, though I don't play mobile games really anymore, or at least definitely not this type of mobile game. I actually didn't know until you like told us about this topic. I didn't know about the Bit Reactor Respawn game, but that, I mean, I love strategy games. I trust Bit Reactor and Respawn. Boy, do I want to know what that is. And what I will say is, especially all of them, especially the Amy Hennig one, is I hope they just are different things in the universe and they don't retread the stuff we know.
Yes.
Yeah.
Star Wars is such a cool place, and I just don't give a shit about the Skywalkers. I mean, I love Skywalker Saga. Not like, obviously I do, but like we know their story, right? And we have this great game that's yeah. One of the reasons why, so like I really didn't like episode 9, and The Mandalorian brought me back to the series because it was all new stuff, and like one of the things I like mildly complained about back on our sister podcast, who's been on the back burner for a while, Geek Out Weekly, is when we talk about The Mandalorian, is like every time they tried to tie closer into the Star Wars canon, like the Luke reveal and stuff, and it's only gotten more so in the latest season, that made me less into it because I liked that it was an off point in the series we didn't know about, and a bunch of characters we just didn't know about, but we knew how the world worked. And like Amy Hennig's game, I'm super excited for until they tell me it's something I already know about, because I don't need to do Uncharted, the Solo movie, right? Like I don't need to live that. I want to see something new in that world, because because one of the best things about Star Wars is the fans know how the world basically works. That's why KOTOR was really interesting, the original KOTOR, right? Because we know how the physics of the universe works, and we know the basic like dark side, light side stuff, but we don't know the early history, and that history tied and became the foundation, and it was so well written that it made sense when you went thousands of years back that this is where the Jedi and Sith would come from and all that stuff. That's why KOTOR was so good. It was well written, but it leaned on the bits of a universe we knew and gave us more information. I want all of these things to do that.
Every single project.
Including Hunters, the mobile game. I want new lore.
I mean,
I'm actually wondering if Hunters is going to have, the essence of, on Battlefront you can play like Ewok Hunt, and like when they're trying to hunt you in the like, and you're like, that one really scares me, so I can't play it too much. I'm wondering if it will have that essence about it, where there's that kind of like, I want to scare people, and like you're like, I definitely am interested in wondering what's going to go on there. I can kind of tagging in different people and playing. There's like, like when you play like the dog fights and stuff and you bring your friends in, I feel like kind of vibe about it.
I don't know. It's Zynga. I
never really. I'm just trying to be optimistic.
No, absolutely, as we should be about all of these these games.
Ubisoft.
But yeah, I mean,
they're terrible people.
Well, we'll say, and we should have. I should have corrected when I said fuck Brewdog. I should have said in the previous episode, fuck Brewdog, the corporation, not the hundreds of employees who work for them. And that's the same for a lot of these places like Ubisoft. There have been some high-profile, fucking awful humans working for them who are right at the top, and they've got a corporate culture which just allows them to fucking abuse people. Fuck Ubisoft, absolutely, the company. But not a lot of the people who will be putting in hours and hours and hours of their time and skill into putting together whatever their open world game is. And Aadil, you and I, we've enjoyed some previous Ubisoft games like The Division and things like that. And I'm a big fan of the original kind of Assassin's Creed games and things as well. So Ubisoft are very good at making open world games because they have a lot of talent and a lot of skill. It depends which studio is making it. It looks like, at least this the IGN article says, it will be a story-driven open world adventure built in Massive's own Snowdrop engine. I don't know whether it's being developed by Massive. Yes, it is. So Massive are good. They made The Division.
I'm expecting something akin to. So it's supposed to be open worldy. I'm expecting it to be like gritty division troopery rebel-y thing, right? Like if it's in the right engine, it's by the same studio who's done the. And to be honest, like Division 1, I really liked the lore and the way they wrote the story, that you could just play the game or delve further into it. And if I didn't have such a strong opinion of Ubisoft, I would be keen on seeing how that like approach would be in Star Wars, right? So like obviously like everyone has their choice as consumers. I'm not saying you're a bad person for playing these games. I'm saying I choose not to play it because yes, there are people who are putting their blood, sweat, and tears in, but also like the way games industry works, a lot of these people get laid off every game anyway, so they could get like if Ubisoft folded, another company would hire them because there'd be a gap, and like we just that's my personal opinion. Anyway, sorry, that I'm sidetracking. What I'm saying is it's interesting because it's that specific engine which suggests an approach, which again I'm super keen on, like a story where it's just a rebel trooper who isn't a Jedi or a Skywalker. Like, I really liked the OG FPS Dark Forces games, but like one of the things that sucked about the Jedi Knight games was like Kyle was just a dude, which was cool, and then he became a Jedi by the end because Star Wars has to Jedi. But like if they like, but that's like that. I mean, it was a different time where that was definitely the case. But now Star Wars is so big that you can just not do that. You can just have a guy who's good at shooting and bounty hunting, or rebelling, and he stays at that, and that's fine. I'm sorry, it doesn't have to be a guy. It could be anyone. Obviously, I was just thinking about Kyle Katarn.
Well, so let's kind of jump into Fallen Order 2, right? Kimberly, you've already mentioned Fallen Order. I enjoyed Fallen Order, but I could not give a shit about the characters. Nothing about that game.
I know what you mean.
Yeah, nothing about it kind of pulled me into, as the original Star Wars film did when I was a kid, and I watched it. Was like, I need to know about this. What is this? What is going on? I'm like 6, and I have to consume everything I possibly can about Star Wars, because what are these characters? This game was just like, yeah, I'm a Jedi. I'm kind of on the run. I'm kind of hanging out.
Me, it was the baddies that hooked me in more.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? The
Yeah.
baddie stories. I know they were short and sweet, but it was almost like they felt like they had more of a character arc.
Absolutely.
So
Yes.
it was that hooked me in, not the main protagonist and the people that he was sharing, obviously, like the journey with. It was the baddies that hooked me in, and I wanted to know more about them. And because there were so many, and I feel like actually I need to know more about their story, and I think that that's what's hooking me in and seeing where their journeys have gone as well. So I think for me it was like that was the flip, and yeah, I think I just enjoyed it. I think it was that kind of kept me going, really, not necessarily like Cal.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. And
I mean,
I think that's maybe where the Amy Hennig game might take us in a slightly different direction, because she is excellent at character writing or developing games which are really focused in on characters. And it doesn't necessarily need to be an Uncharted clone, but the Ragtag game she was developing, which was a slightly more open world experience, but was more like a GTA 5, where you were switching between a few kind of characters in this bigger open world setting. It'd be interesting to see if that is the game that they are looking at, or something similar is what they're looking at developing. And I know through reading Jason Schreier's first book, what's that one called? Blood, Sweat and Pixels, maybe? That the Star Wars 1313 Bounty Hunter game, which was being made and was coming along very well, was then just absolutely destroyed by George Lucas coming in and essentially saying, it's going to be a Boba Fett game now. And they're like, no, that wasn't the plan. Now we have to rewrite fucking everything. And him going, oh no, but you should do this. Oh no, but you should do this. Oh no. So it's nice to see Star Wars, at least under Disney, as they kind of done with Avengers games or that Marvel end of things, going, make a game.
Yeah.
We're not gonna fuck you around too much. Just to, this is kind of canon. Make a game.
Yeah.
And I think it's kind of one of those where we're like, right, the Ubisoft game, an open world multiplayer game, great for either like the Clone Wars or even like the New Republic kind of era. As long as you are set in that kind of, we're not all Jedis grouping together. We are, fodder. And this is this experience and the story that we're kind of going to be going through. Or having those single player experiences going, here is that Jedi's experience, and this is how we have written it.
Can I? Okay, so the Amy Hennig game, it seems like the three of us are super keen on because there's so much potential. I want to know, and then I'll tell you my idea, but what your dream idea of what that game could be, like era and like main character type.
Ooh.
And if you want, I can go first if you need to think. But if you have an idea of like, oh, if I could get some sort of well-designed narrative art game with a character from Star Wars, what would it be?
I do have that game. I do have exactly what I want to see Amy Hennig writing.
All right, go for it.
I want it to be Vader as Vader as the main character going around hunting Jedi. That's what I want to see. I want to see a fucking brutal, absolutely brutal Vader just mercilessly hunting Jedi through the galaxy.
You want the actual end to the first trilogy.
Sort of. But the one of my favorite Star Wars games. One of my favorite Star Wars games is The Force Unleashed.
Because it's so good.
There was this kind of
move the Star Destroyer.
Yeah,
such a good moment. Really such a fucking good
but
moment.
It's kind of like the whole battle as the original trilogy of films kind of tries to pull you towards is Luke's story, this battle between being light side and dark side and all of this kind of thing. I kind of want that. I want this thing in Vader to be like, fuck you. Oh, but am I a nice kind of guy? No, I'm not a nice kind of guy. But I could be like, no, I'm not a nice kind of guy. Just picture everyone as sand people, as Tusken Raiders, and I'll fucking murder all of you. Like, I kind of...
I really like that. Like that emotional tension of, I've chosen the dark side, but I haven't succumbed fully to it. Oh, that's really good.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think Amy, that...
You explained it, I'm with you, totally.
Yeah. I thought you just wanted to like hunt Sam Jackson or something.
Wait,
I know he's already.
Is he no, he's canonically alive.
Dead.
No, he's canonically alive.
Yeah, he's canonically alive. Right, yeah.
Because I think he's basically talked them round to being like, I want to be able to come into any movie that I ever want to be able to, so just make me canonically alive. And they're like, yeah, right, fine.
Kimberly, do you have an idea, or?
You know what? I set myself up to fail when I have ideas, and the issue is I'd rather leave it open, and I don't want to think about it because I want it to be a pleasant surprise. And I feel like, I don't know whether this is the pessimistic side of me coming out, but I feel like if I have this vision in my head, it's almost like when you're going to see a film that you've really been waiting for months, and you have a vision of what it's going to be like, and then you're almost setting yourself up for this like slight disappointment. And I don't want to do this with this game. I kind of just want to not think about it, and then I see
until it comes out,
and I'm like, and that's how I want to feel. So I mean, I'm with your idea as you explained it, but I don't want to make my own concept, and I don't want to be disappointed because I feel like this one has, out of all the ones you've described, this one has the most promise.
It's definitely the most potential ridden.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my idea is like, okay, so is not like, it's not going to be correct, right? But it's like, oh, talented writers, what would I want to see them try and tackle? It's called Journey to the Moff, and it's about Grand Moff Tarkin's journey to becoming Grand Moff Tarkin, but like from early days. And so there's almost no action. It's all like there definitely is, because he definitely had to be Grand Moff Tarkin. He had to lead, be in good battles and then lead good battles, because that's how the Empire works. But really, it's about the intrigue and his political machinations to get to the point where he is literally above Vader by the end of the game. And then we start the New Hope. I want to see that narrative that we've never seen, but also it's really just about an old man becoming an old man who's powerful. Obviously, he wasn't an old man at the beginning, but like I really like the idea of like someone like Amy Hennig could write that. It's not going to happen, I know, but like I would love to see that kind of angle on this huge name who was given this like a screen time. Grand Moff Tarkin is one of the biggest characters in Star Wars because he wasn't on screen for very long, but it was such a presence, right? And like, how do you become to the point where the Emperor trusts you more than Vader is a question that's never answered, and I'd love to find that out.
I don't think your idea is that out of the realms of possibility, because I've just tried to Google it, but I can't find anything. I'm pretty sure Skydance Media, who are making this game with Amy Hennig, jumped in to save Telltale Games and to finalize the Walking Dead Season 3 final few episodes. I may be wrong in this, but I'm pretty sure that's correct. Telltale Games are now a thing again. So it's not out of the realms of possibility that Skydance New Media, Telltale Games, and Amy Hennig are all working together to create a choice-based, story-driven Star Wars game, in which
would be
could
perfect
probably
for
be
what
Grand
I'm
Moff
saying.
Tarkin. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And then when it doesn't happen, we'll all go, "Oh,
Yeah. Oh, you built your hopes up there, look.
Yeah.
yeah,
And of course,
yeah."
but
who,
like,
who knows?
it's that type of thing that I really want to highlight. Is like, give me a backstory of someone we like have regard for and don't need, but would be interesting. I don't need to know how Han Solo got his name.
Cheers to that.
No, and it's one of the reasons why I really like the From a Certain Point of View books, which have been written by a bunch of authors who aren't in the Star Wars pantheon of kind of writers, who have been brought in to write little short stories and novellas within the Star Wars universe. And the first two books, from A New Hope and from Empire Strikes Back, are fantastic in just giving a little bit more information on all of these like side characters and even new characters that you've never kind of even thought about. There's some great ones in the Empire Strikes Back version of A Certain Point of View, where they're kind of like all revolving around the Battle of Hoth, and it's just talking about people that you know they might not have even been like on screen. This is this character. It might just be someone completely different that they just kind of talk about their experience of what happens during that. And it's like, oh, these are the stories that I want. Just not like necessarily mundane, everyman kind of stories, but stuff that hasn't been tread before. So yeah, I can. Yeah, that's it. Definitely.
I feel like we're all in like imagining mode now.
Oh yeah, we're all picturing our ideal Star Wars game. Can I ask? I mean, I know we're at nearing the end of the podcast, but did you guys play KOTOR, and are you excited about the KOTOR remake? Because I've played KOTOR. I don't think I care. I think I could play the original Knights of the Old Republic and be fine. I don't know why, but this remake just doesn't grip me, and I think I'm the one out because everyone else in the world seems to be like, who's played Knights of the Old Republic is super keen, and I'm like, but the good one, like, it was good. It was good. I would play it again. I don't know. I feel really weird about it because it should be something I'm excited about.
I didn't play it, so it will be all fresh for me. So I'm exempt.
Yeah, fair enough.
I'm in the middle. I did play it, but I didn't finish it.
Oh, it's very good. You should
so
finish it.
It's one of those games where I'm like, right, okay, well that's like a backlog game that I haven't finished. Oh, a new updated modern version is coming out. Yes, I will absolutely play that one instead, because I'm not the kind of person that cares really about backlogs of games or for game services to have games that have come out a year or 10 years ago. I rarely go back to games from, again, unless it's a multiplayer game that we've decided to get into and we're playing a little bit more of, rarely go back to games from kind of a couple of years ago, unless it's something glaring that I've absolutely missed. But
Or like a sequel comes out that you're like, I'll play like Mass Effect 2 because I never got around to it before Mass Effect 3 comes out or something like that.
Yes. But generally, I kind of play most of the big releases as they come out, and at least in the Star Wars kind of vein. I brought Squadrons day one. I brought
You poor bastard.
I brought the fucking new one. It's gone from my mind. The one that we're getting a sequel to, Star Wars Jedi
Fallen Order.
Fallen Order. Yes, I brought that day one. I picked Star Wars games up day one usually. So going back to KOTOR is not something I will do. So yes, the remake is definitely like I will play that, absolutely. I think to get the best out of that, I'll probably have to get a PlayStation 5. Before that
you'll have to. There's no. What are you gonna do?
I keep telling Kim I've got to buy one now, but she doesn't agree with me. But there's better stuff to spend our money on than PlayStations and Lego, and I'm like, is there though? I don't think there is. Who needs new furniture?
You've got to find your joy. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly. Lego retains its price better than gold. I should be buying all the Lego.
Yeah. So the problem is though that only works with sealed in box.
That's not fun.
Which there's a reason why I have a lot of Lego and it is worth not as much money as it could be because I built it and also I was moving around the world a bunch, so I threw out the boxes. And it turns out I didn't realize it used, but mint boxes is a thing.
Yeah.
But that's fine. I don't care because I didn't buy it as an investment. I bought it so I could build a thing.
Yeah, to play with. Yeah, absolutely. Good. Right, let's finish it there then for this episode. And jump back into the beers that we have drunk. Kimberly, we'll come back to the beer that you drank. Was it called Back to Tank?
It was just Bacta.
Oh, just Bacta. Right.
Imperial Stout. It is. I read a lot of the reviews for this before we actually got into this can, and a lot of them said that it had a bitter coffee finish. I don't agree. I don't agree at all. Okay. The coffee was quite balanced for me. On the first taste, yes, I sensed it was there. My fourth sense was telling me it was there, but it was overpowering, like they were suggesting. What I have to say is there's definitely a boozy finish. You almost get that, like when you watch the Cointreau advert and they're like Cointreau Glow. That's what I'm getting right now.
Yeah, nice. I get you.
A bit like when you go for Christmas and you have someone's made a Christmas cake and they've just overly
it.
Booziness in there, but it's not booziness. I'm not getting heartburn from it. It's just a nice glow that I will. Sway a little bit and enjoy the rest of the evening. It's a nice, tangible, vibe. It's not like oh my God, my chest is burning. This is way too boozy, and I feel
it's not straight whiskey.
Yeah, basically, it's like a nice, chilled, smooth end of night whiskey vibe. So I am enjoying it. It is for a 12%. It is very. I think the flavors, as I've kind of gone through it. I'm still not getting the hazelnut, even though it says it's there.
I was going to ask you how much Ferrero Rocher or Nutella there was.
Definitely not. Like a lot of people, they sense the hazelnut. I have not got it once. It's the honey for me that is the kind of overriding like note that's coming through for me, but not in like a, sometimes when you have Manuka honey and it just like you feel it in your nose and it's like a nice smooth honey, and it's really complementing the dark chocolate flavors in there. I'm not sensing the nutty flavors at all, but it's still enjoyable. I'm not that upset about not sensing the nutty flavors in it. It's still enjoyable, and I would definitely have it again, but I've only got one more can, so I might have to preserve celebration because people won't be happy.
Yeah, that's fair.
Amazing. It's kind of one of those beers that I kind of want to get in front of Lucy, because Lucy loves a hazelnut beer as well.
Yeah,
and it'd be interesting to have seen if she'd have picked that out as well.
Yeah. Be interesting to try all these side by side because this one, I know this one's like peanutty, but I'd like to see how much the peanut comes through. And then this one is a hazelnut one as well. So it would have been interesting to try these side by side and just see if that comes out. I just didn't, I don't know, I didn't get the nut, but the honey, sometimes for me, when honey's in beers, I find it just too like
meaty.
Overpowering. Yeah. And it's just not enjoyable for, I mean, I could probably have a small third of it, but beyond that, it would be too much and too over the top. Whereas this is the honey, however they've done it, it's really enjoyable and it's adding like a luxurious texture and it's soft and it's nice and subtle and it's making me want to go back. So definitely
a win. Want to track it down.
I think honey beers as well kind of almost come in two flavors, either far too much honey or just nowhere near enough, that they just doesn't present in the flavor very much.
I don't know if you recall, a couple months ago I had because I was given these beers I'd never heard of from Brewery that was a honey, like a it was an apiary connected to a brewery, and the first couple I had, because I got a multi-pack as a gift, and the first thing I said was like, I guess there's honey in this on two of them, and then one of them was like, there was honey in this. It was so interesting. It exemplified exactly what you were saying, which is like, I think honey's just either it's just a sweetener, which is fine, but then you really have to work to figure out why it's honey as a sweetener versus something else. Or it's like, hey, this is honey.
Yes, I am with you totally. This is definitely the most balanced honey tasting beer I have had. As you said, it's normally too sickly, or like you said, I'm like, meh, where is it? I don't know.
Yeah, I get their sweetness, but you could have used whatever. It wouldn't have mattered.
Yeah.
This makes me super curious because I don't think I've ever had a balanced honey. Like like Ben was saying, I think I've only ever had it as like, okay, I can tell that it's honey sweetening it because I'm like,
because the
crunching the numbers and or because exactly. Yeah, it's like grapefruit.
Or it's like, hey, I'm filled with honey. There's nothing else to do. I'm just honey.
What if we just made this beer taste like mead? Right?
I mean, mead's great, but it's mead.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I sometimes find that with like like when you have Imperial Stouts and they have maple syrup in, it just gets a bit too syrupy and a bit too like I just as a soy saucy. Do you know what I mean? It's too much. Like they overpower it. And it's a fine line when it says it's got maple in it. I'm always a bit like, kind of want it, but I'm just worried there's going to be too much in it.
Yeah, at least with maple versus honey, there's a slight or at least I'm Canadian, so maybe it's just me, but there's a distinctive note of maple sweetness that I can pinpoint. So you could do it subtly, and I'd be like, "There's maple." While honey, I feel like I don't know as well, maybe, but it's just like if it's not subtle, it could be anything. So don't brag that it's honey. And if I know it's honey, you've overdone it.
Yeah.
And so now
maple be a swap between us and
see how we AB it, right? You know what makes honey? AB.
Too much for me.
That's a good point to jump into the beer that you've drunk, Aadil.
Oh yeah, I forgot we hadn't gone there. I really like the Moor barrel-aged dark ale sour series 1. Sorry, that's a mouthful, and it was a mouthful. It's really good. The one thing I will say is it's by the end of it, it became less sour feeling. It became much more just a dark ale. Like I got used to this. I mean, I opened with saying it's a really light sour, and so it's a good introductory sour. And so as my palate adapted to it, it was like, it's like a cherry dark ale. That's how I would say. Like, which is again not a problem, but I would just say like, it's not like for what the range of a sour beer could be. once you get used to this is just a cherry dark ale, which is very good, and again reinforces what I was saying. And I think now I'm super curious. I'm even more curious what Sour Series 2 will be. Whether because I really just want to know whether Moor's trying to do like here's a Sour Series for people who don't know or aren't used to, or might not like sours. Here's a series of beers that will make them be like, this is interesting, I want more. Or whether it was I want more.
Yeah.
Or whether or whether this happens to be this happened to be sort of a nice way to finish, and the next one might be actually more sour forward. Like whether it's going to be like, here's a plateau of sourness that we're aiming for, or whether it's like, here's an incline that we're going to go up, and the next one's going to be more sour. So yeah, if anything, it's easier for me to recommend for any beer drinker, and it makes me even more curious about the rest. So I think, yeah.
What does it say about the Sour Series on the back? I just wondered how they introed it in, and whether it was like meant to be almost like someone that was not used to that palate, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I mean, this is what I wish it said. Some Moor never does a lot of flavor text, so I'll reread the flavor text. This is barrel-aged dark ale, Sour Series 1. A compelling barrel-aged dark ale with sour cherry notes. Brewed and canned by Moor.
Yeah, I kind of feel like it would have been better to. I guess I feel like it was an entry level kind of sour, and kind of hoping that 2 will take you up a notch.
Yeah, I really hope it's not the plateau that they're just aiming for the same type of sour. I'm really hoping it will be this incline of like building you up, Buttercup. Sorry.
Felt like I needed to do that.
Yeah. Anyway, welcome to Tanked Up. This is the point of the night where Aadil definitely derails things with nonsensical references.
It's pretty, like, right at the end. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Ben wants to wrap up. He's got a family. Aadil just keeps talking, even now. How's the cheese?
Cheese. I mean, I don't know about the, like, not quite gingham, but slightly...
I believe... So my theory was it was a cheesecloth. Like, really close in on a cheesecloth.
Yes.
Yeah.
I hate cheese. So, I don't know
this is the one thing that, like...
Cheese.
Yeah.
I fucking hate
Whoa.
cheese.
I love Ben, but I just don't understand him as a human in this respect.
How? Like,
I mean...
this is another podcast. We can just edge over this. It's fine.
I mean, I love cheese from Pressure Drop.
It's your favorite cheese.
This beer was
great.
a
favorite cheese, Ben.
Exactly. This is my favorite cheese. Absolutely. It's really good. Lots of lovely mango in there. Lots of lovely piney dankness. Weedy notes to it as well. Really, really easy to drink. If you want a dank weedy beer, drink this every single fucking day. There are weedier, danker beers. This isn't like the weediest beer I've had, but it is. it's that way, absolutely.
It's a beer you'd have in California, but not Amsterdam.
Ooh, yes, yeah, absolutely. It's the California. I mean, but it's a New England IPA. It's not a West Coast IPA. But as I think I said when I was describing it, it edges that way almost actually as a beer. It's not those light stone fruits that you would kind of expect. That nice soft kind of fruity notes that you would expect from a New England. It does have a bit of a harshness. It is edging a little bit more tropical fruitiness as well. But it's really fucking good. Drink cheese. Don't eat it because it's disgusting, but drink cheese.
I'm not with you. You know the phrase "the cheese stands alone." That's where I am right now.
Is that a phrase?
I don't know. I think I heard it in like a random TV episode, but I think
like
it
The
is
Simpsons, probably.
I think it might have been
a song. Yeah. It's part of a line from The Farmer in the Dell.
There you go. See, I didn't make it up.
Farmer in the Dell. I don't remember the rest.
See, we're vibing.
What?
Yeah.
You don't like
cheese. It's because we're not cheese haters.
I don't know the cheese songs. Sorry.
Me straight after this. Done.
Wait, is The Farm in the Dell not a thing you guys know? Is that like a North American nursery rhyme?
You can drop me a link later, maybe after I finish this 12%, I'll be vibing to that.
Just a nursery rhyme, but we're all going for it. Just absolutely loving life. Perfect. Kiss of Death in the chat says, I think it's an American song.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
So there we go. Confirmation
Hi
from
ho,
one
the
person.
Dario, the farmer in the dell.
Is that it?
I mean, it's like several verses, but it's like farmer in the dell, the farmer in the dell. Hi ho, the Dario, the farmer in the dell. And the last line is, the cheese stands alone, the cheese stands alone.
Yes.
Fuck's sake.
Or something that's...
Sure. If you want
Glad
to get...
you invited me on as a guest now. We got to this phrase.
I mean, if you, dear listener and viewer, want to get hold of us and tell us about your North American or British nursery rhymes that revolve around cheese, please do at Tanked Up Cast on the socials, or go to outoflives.net to look at our beautiful faces and look at the beers, or the Out of Lives Network YouTube page, and you can tell us about your favourite cheese if you really want to. I'm at Nova_47. Oh no, you've typed it all out in the Twitch chat. Go to Twitch, Out of Lives Network, to see all of this nonsense live, and look in the chat when Aadil has put in the entire nursery rhyme into the chat.
Oh,
no,
and the copy paste has no...
because there's
the copy paste has
nothing
no
about
like
cheese.
line breaks.
There's nothing about cheese standing alone in there.
It's because there's only so many characters Twitch will let you put into a copy paste and then cut it off.
Perfect. But as I say, come to Twitch for all of this nonsense on a weekly basis.
I feel like that segue made my face hurt. I'm just going to put it out there.
Yeah.
That's good. That's all we can ever hope for. Aadil is...
At the Omniarch.
And Kimberley, if people want to get hold of you on the socials, how do they do that?
Craft beer pinup. Here I am.
Perfect. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Thank you, Kimberley, for joining us for these 2 episodes as well. It's been a pleasure to have you.
Cheers. Pleasure being here. Cheers to you.
Perfect. Thank you very
have
much.
You back again.
Yeah, absolutely. And we will see you next time, dear listener and viewer. Please rate and review us on your podcast service or video service, which is only pretty much YouTube of choice. And that always helps spread the conversation out to your friends. Thank you, Kiss of Death, for hanging out with us in the chat as well. And we will see all of you, hopefully, next week. Have a good week. We'll catch you soon. We've been Tanked Up. Bye-bye.
Bye.
www.outoflives.net